There are three things in photography that you have to master if you want to get killer photos, and the most important being aperture. That's what we're going to cover in this video. Now, aperture in a nutshell is the opening of the lens diaphragm or aperture blades. It's that cool looking thing inside the lens that opens and closes. Why is it important? Well, that little hole is what lets light pass through and reach the camera sensor. And a properly lit photo is a high quality photo. I'll go over what you need to know to better understand aperture so you can start improving your photo game. But before I get into it, remember to come visit us here at the Digital Go To Showroom in Miami. And don't forget, we publish new content weekly, so subscribe to our channel and tap the bell icon to get notified about our latest videos. Think of how your eyes work. You might have heard this example before, but it's the best way to understand how aperture works. In bright environments, the iris shrinks to limit how much light enters your eye, and in turn, your pupil gets smaller. In dark environments, the iris expands to let in more light and your pupil gets larger. And aperture works the same way. Basically, the aperture is the pupil of the lens. The aperture is expressed as an F number known as f-stop. And the F stands for focal ratio. And the number is what tells you what the size of the aperture is. But here's the kicker. The larger the number, the smaller the hole. The smaller the number, the larger the hole. You heard that right. It has an inverse relationship. So many people get this confused at first, but the number is actually a fraction. So think about it this way. 1/16 is much smaller than 1/4. So f22 is a much smaller hole than f2. All modern lenses will have an aperture range, and the range will vary between lenses. Most manufacturers will have the maximum aperture or the largest opening size printed on the barrel of the lens. So take a look at this Sigma lens, for example. This particular all-in-one 18 to 300 millimeter zoom lens shows 3.5 to 6.3. Now that's how you can quickly tell the maximum aperture range on this lens is f3.5 to 6.3. Now some zoom lenses like this Sigma have a variable maximum aperture range, which basically means that as you zoom in and out, the maximum aperture is going to change. At 18 millimeters, the lens will have a maximum aperture of f3.5. At 300 millimeters, the lens is going to change to an aperture of f6.3. And the smallest opening, the largest f number, is f22, and this can be achieved at either end of the lens. Along with letting in light, changing your aperture also controls how much will be in focus in front and behind the subject, known as your depth of field. With a larger f number, which again would be a smaller opening, more of the scene will appear in focus both in front and behind of your subject. Now with a smaller f number like f1.8, a larger opening, it will blur more area in front and behind your subject. So if you've wondered how people get those cool looking photos where things up front are really sharp and the background has this cool blurred effect, this is how you do it. So if you're going to take landscape photos and you want more of the scene in focus, choose a larger f number. And if you want to blur out the background to get rid of some of that distracting elements, for portraits, choose a smaller f number. Like I mentioned earlier, aperture is the most important setting to master when trying to get the perfect photo, but there are two other settings, shutter speed and ISO, that you'll have to tinker with along with your aperture to achieve a perfectly exposed image. There is an aperture priority mode on most cameras, usually shown on the mode dial as AV or A, where you can set your desired aperture setting and the camera will automatically set the shutter speed and ISO for you. So there you have it. Hopefully you have a better understanding on what aperture is and how it works. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comment section below and I'll get back to you with an answer. If you like this video, remember, hit the thumbs up button below, subscribe to our channel and tap the bell icon. And if you're in the Miami area, come visit us here at the Digital Go To Showroom. Thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next video.